Hey guys, it's Courtney Carson from Cosmic Clarity Astrology, and today I'm excited to talk to you about the Scorpio full moon happening on May 1st, 2026. Before we dive in, I did want to let you know that Uranus has finally moved back into the sign of Gemini, and it's going to be here for years. So if you want to check out what this is going to be like for you, then make sure that you watch or even rewatch my Uranus in Gemini through all the signs forecast, and I will link that down below. I also wanted to let you guys know that I'm going to do a different style of video where I would like to collect user experiences from the audience of people who have gone through a Saturn return. And I just want to kind of create this like wisdom database where we all share messages and experiences with each other. So if you have already been through a Saturn return, I'm going to link a form down below. I would love to hear your audio message and to look at your chart and to kind of share your experience on a YouTube video. If you want to be a part of that, then go ahead and join that down below. Obviously, it's free and your chart and information will be publicly available, but you can make it anonymous as well in terms of your name. But your voice will still be shared. So if you're interested in that, then make sure that you, again, use that link to fill the information out. But if you haven't been through your Saturn return yet, you can still participate in the form of asking your question. So if you have a Saturn return coming up and you would like that to be reflected on in this, public YouTube reading, for example, then you can also fill that out. But again, your information will be public. So if you want, you can just anonymize your name and we'll just talk about your chart and whatever context, life experiences that you share. So make sure you check that out. I don't know when that's going to come out, but yeah, hopefully some of you guys participate because I think that would be really cool. Okay, so let's go ahead and jump into this full moon. So this is an interesting month because we're going to have two full moons, one to start and end the month. So we're kind of having this big energy, I guess, around releasing and moving forward. And we do have a lot of planets that are moving direct, as you can see in this chart. All of them are moving direct. We're still having this Aries stellium as well. So we're still having things kind of really moving along. And so having two full moons in a month is indicative of having this ability to bring things to fruition and release things that are getting in our way and kind of move through things at a faster, deeper pace. And so a lot of us really should be using this month to actualize parts of our dreams or our visions for our life. At the very least, it's a good time to confront the things that maybe are kind of outdated. Scorpio is a lot about that. Scorpio in the body rules over the excretion systems, and that includes things like sweating and the skin. So there is something about this period where we're kind of sweating out old gunk in order to make room for all the new that's trying to come in the month of May. And I really do like the new moon that's going to be in the middle of the month. And I am going to be hopefully announcing a membership that I'm starting around transits and like tracking your transits and doing that in a community. So if you're interested in that, stay tuned for that Taurus new moon. But anyway, I really think that this new moon, or this full moon, sorry, I did mention purging and whatnot, but I think it's really about helping us push our boundaries. And the reason is because we have all this Aries energy, we have all this momentum, but there is like this a little bit of kind of psychic tension or psychological tension that we could be facing as we're trying to move forward. And this new moon why do I keep saying new moon? This full moon does square Pluto, which shows some of that potential inner resistance, or maybe even our stress around what's going on in the collective and how that could, again, kind of disrupt us in some kind of fashion. But what I love about this full moon is that the ruler Mars, the ruler of Scorpio, Mars, is in its home sign of Aries. And it's squaring Jupiter, which is a benefic, which is in its sign of its exaltation in Cancer. So we have some really strong planets that are interacting and participating with one another at this full moon that is kind of egging us on. So when I say pushing our boundaries, I really got the visual of like us going down this kind of rapid. I don't know if have you guys ever done rafting and in the rapids before, and you like bump off all these rocks and you're going really fast and it's kind of chaotic and scary, but you're moving really quickly and you're in this period of feeling almost like you're taking some kind of risk, right? Because at any moment you could fall out and then get swept, and that's a little complicated from there. But if you've done anything like that, let me know in the comments down below. But that's how I perceived, or that's like the visual really that I got for this full moon, and with in particular with this Mars and Aries squaring Jupiter Cancer, is this idea of things moving really quickly, but there might be some like brushing up against some boulders of our life and kind of whacking them and continuing to move forward, even if we're a little bit bruised, even if we feel like we're again taking some kind of risk for this. So it's like growing beyond our limits can involve some level of friction or discomfort. There could also be this feeling of needing to leave home or leave behind what is familiar. And this could potentially cause conflict as well. Like there are, of course, potentials of having conflict within the home or within one's country or surrounded by one's family or root systems, because Jupiter and Cancer can signify that. There could also be issues with like foreign affairs and trade issues, which I think is already happening right now with the war going on. So there could be some issues with like traveling abroad or things like that. I don't think that it's like major right now, but it will be in July. So prepare for this, like mid to late July. I think there's going to be quite a bit of potential economic and political tension and issues traveling and issues around foreign affairs. And we could see that kind of spark coming up now with this square between Mars and Jupiter. But again, you ain't seen nothing yet till July time. I just have a lot of notes here that I took around this full moon. So if you see me looking down, that's why. So yeah, I think a lot of this time is like, what can we do to move forward confidently, and what needs to be felt, purged, removed in order to feel uninhibited. And so maybe it's those boulders. Maybe there are boulders that we have to literally take out of our life, or maybe we just have to bump into them and kind of messily knock ourselves around and move forward anyway. So maybe we make mistakes, maybe we fumble, maybe we try this and we try that, and we come up against our insecurities, but we still move forward anyway. That's the kind of energy that I see with this full moon. I think also something that I was getting in the cards that I was pulling were two distinct paths. One is going to feel like a garden that has already been used and used and used over many years, and the soil is dry. There is no sustenance there. There is no, like, you can try to plant a seed there, but it just doesn't have the nutrients that it needs to grow a plant. And then there's going to be a place that is a lush garden and, has that soil that is really rich. And so there's something about this where I feel like there are things that we've already done over and over and over and over again, and we can't get many more things from that experience. Like, we can't get more juice out of that orange. We can't plant more crops there because that path is dried up and we've really gotten the most life experience that we could from it. And now whatever we get from it is like not really going to be nourishing or sustainable for us. And then we have the other life path that is the opposite. It's something new. It's something that might feel like a risk, an adventure, again, pushing our boundaries, pushing ourselves. And this could be in any frame. This could be an emotional boundary that you're pushing within a relationship and you're advancing the relationship. This could feel like you're progressing something in your work or your business or a life goal that you have. Or maybe, I don't know, a million different things. So just keep that in mind, that there is this feeling of having to push a bit, but what is on the other side is a rich soil where things actually have the potential to thrive. And so which one will you choose? That's the full moon is going to ask you, which one are you going to choose? And we do have Mercury conjunct Chiron right now. So the idea of having to make a choice, the idea of having to sort through our options and our logical mind and our planning mind, there is some things that are going to be potentially triggering or emotional or sensitive in those matters. So we could feel like at times, one of the things that came through was like the news or people's information or opinions, and the way that gets in and like infiltrates us and makes us maybe doubt ourselves, or maybe we just see something bad happen to someone else in some other part of the world and then we're like, see, that could happen to me. There's a million different ways that this could manifest, but there's something here around needing to protect the innocence of ourselves and the innocence of this dream, or the purity of this desire, or this like creative seed that we want to plant. We have to really protect it right now, because this Mercury Chiron is so sensitive, and it can really let that outside information infiltrate us and dilute the dream and the desire and the passion around it. And it could contaminate it in a way that it turns that fire into something that hurts us or makes us inactive. Fire is one of those things that can be really productive in terms of astrology. It could be very productive to get things moving, get things going, and it can also burn you, and it can also destroy you. And so with this Mercury and Chiron in Aries, this intense fire sign, we have to ask how our mind and information and opinions and plans and just our thoughts in general, how are we using that to fuel our dreams and purify things to keep us kind of innocent, rather than letting in all of these outside things come and burn us up from the inside out. I hope that makes sense. We want to be careful that we are not reactive as well. We don't want to like speak from a wounded place, as well as receive information and allow other people's wounded places or fears or insecurities to project onto us and define us. That's really big with Aries. Is a lot of it can not only influence our drive and our sense of direction and our passion and our decision making, but it can even influence the way that we perceive ourselves as people. So who I identify as, what I think I'm capable of, or what I think I should or shouldn't do, or how I value or measure myself. Those things can be influenced based off of the things that you see online, or what people say to you, or again, just some kind of information. And so we want to be really, really careful that what we're taking in we're not allowing it to define us and limit us, especially because it is likely coming from a wounded place, or being potentially information that's filtered through our wounds and kind of distorted as a result of that. I hope that makes sense. Some of us could potentially get some negative news, especially if you have plants around 11 degrees of Scorpio or the fixed signs. But I think the most likely thing for people isn't something negative, especially because Jupiter squares this Mars, which rules this moon. I think it's more so going to be that we are pushing past the things that make us insecure, or the things that we fear could happen. And we're saying, I can do it anyway. I can move forward even feeling like shit or uncertain at times. I can feel confident despite not having all the answers, like something like that. I see most people are going to be in that frame of mind rather than actually receiving bad news, but though some people could. So yeah, how do we protect our hearts and our sense of innocence? It's like, how do we love deeply? How do we care deeply in a world that tells you it's cringe to open up and be vulnerable, or to want something so badly, or to take, to put yourself out there and openly be kind of earnest and try hard? How do we keep moving forward in life with that childlike desire and optimism and hope and effort that the world will demonize or belittle? And how do we maintain the innocence around it? So that's a really big question right now, is like, how do we kind of purify and protect and have boundaries around our desires and around our decisions and around our commitment to our vision of ourselves and our life and who we are? And yeah, I just think a lot of this full moon is like protecting ourselves and really clarifying what those boundaries and walls, I guess, look like. And I think also it is possible that there's, especially, how I described that there's one path that we've come from that has been really beaten to death. Like there's no further nutrients from that path. And I think that if we've stayed a little bit too long, some of us could even feel a little bit burnt out by it. So some of us might feel like there's been something that we've been participating in our life that has run its course, and that it's like to the point where it's unsustainable and draining our energy and maybe affecting our mental health negatively. And it's like, how do we create protection and boundaries around that as well, so that we don't continue to pull from an empty well, so that we can fill up our cup, we can de-stress, we can take a break, we can create art, or we can have a little vacation, or we can get out of our normal way of doing things and our normal mindset to create more of this kind of peace and spaciousness and separation from the noise or whatever that thing was that was stressing us. So I think this is really important right now, to unburden ourselves and to discontinue whatever is unsustainable, because there's something about our mind and body and soul could really be tired right now, or could be potentially influenced by outside sources. And so for those of you who this applies to, because it might not be for everyone, but for those of you who this applies to, how do we reconnect with our vigor for life and protect ourselves from the influences that could drain us? And yeah, I think Mars squaring Jupiter, it just really wants us to feel like we can get going on the things that we're passionate about, the things that we are creatively inspired by, and the ideas that we want to jump straight into. There's a lot of energy. Mars is like a battery, and Jupiter also can act like a battery enhancer in some way. And so we're getting a lot of momentum and energy and push. Again, all planets direct, Aries stellium. This is all about go, go, go. And it's almost like we just have to make sure that we are actually taking the steps and not letting our own psychological stress get in the way. So yeah, we just want to make sure that we're not getting in our own way right now, which I really feel like we're working on whatever is in the way to move past it. Yeah, I think also with Mercury conjunct Chiron, it's really about reconnecting to our sense of resolve and our steadfastness and our courage to move forward towards something. So not acting impulsively on fears or running from something because we're not sure. It's really digging deep and finding that meaning and purpose of why we are doing what we are doing. And that can often come from Jupiter being in Cancer. It can challenge us to, again, push outside of our comfort zone. And part of that is by finding the bigger why of why we're doing this. Things could also move a lot faster than we thought they would. So Aries, all planets direct, and and also Uranus moving into Gemini, coming into a loose trine with Pluto in Aquarius. It's a lot of fast moving energy. We have fire, we have air, we have ideas and things manifesting at 10x speed right now. So if you feel like you're kind of being dragged along life, that's also part of this in a way. If you are usually someone who's quite slow and methodical, you might find that you need to pick up the pace a little bit to match the energy that you are being divinely guided by. One of the strongest transits right now is Venus and Gemini sextiling Saturn in Aries. And this is pretty much exact. As you can see, they're both 9 degrees, so it is exact. I mean, it's just not the same seconds, but anyway. So really big deal right now to get organized around our finances. We might need to create some kind of plan around our money or our savings or something around that. This could also pertain to time and mental energy and focus. This could also be pertaining to social battery, how much time you're giving to what people, and making sure that you have a good organization between working on things for yourself, between socializing or connecting with others or trying new stuff. So there is a need to get organized here, to have some kind of plan. Venus and Gemini can also represent, with the sextile to Saturn, resolving conflict. If you have been either having internal conflict with Gemini, it's like inner dialogue, inner chatter, maybe you're feeling kind of pulled in different directions. Maybe you value different things or have different priorities. With the sextile to Saturn and Aries, this is about being direct and focused on a singular thing. So this is really about resolving that inner conflict around competing priorities and making sure that you have a way of pushing the top priority above everything else and scaffolding your day around that. This could also relate to resolving conflict within relationships and having maybe difficult conversations or confronting things with people or seeing things clearly and in a level-headed way. Saturn is very discerning. Saturn is very calm and knows how to like tackle maybe difficult conversations in a way that is I guess just very level-headed, like I said. So I think that if you guys need to come to a truce, if you need to see somebody else's opinion or come to some kind of conclusion that puts people on equal ground, then this Venus sextiling Saturn can really do that. So yeah, I think at the end of the day, this is often about recommitting to something that you had an idea about. It might have felt really fun and sparkly to have an idea about something during Pisces season. And now that we're in Aries season and we actually have to tackle these things and take forward movement on them and put, nose to the grindstone, it could feel a little bit more intimidating because there is inherent risk and also discomfort in taking a dream, an ideal, and putting it into reality in the real world. So there is some level of discomfort behind that, but we just need to take practical action to show ourselves that we're committing to this goal. And Venus sextile Saturn can really help us do that. And I also think it's all about building confidence in ourselves, like seeing the value in ourselves as well, through our actions. So if I'm slowly socializing more or slowly putting myself out there, slowly asking for what I want more, or just being more vocal about something with Venus and Gemini, and Saturn and Aries is really going to support that. It's going to show that you can build up your confidence in your identity as being good at something, just through action itself. So, okay. I'm just trying to see if there's any last things I want to mention. Yeah, I think that this time it's the most important thing is just really trusting ourselves, not letting other people get in the way, infiltrate and cause doubt, not letting life situations or world circumstances to get in the way of your forward momentum. This is a time about moving all of the blocks, psychological, mental, or material blocks out of the way so that we can progress along some kind of path that we need to progress on, and about asserting the necessary boundaries to protect ourselves, to protect our stress levels, to protect our know or our wisdom around something, and our commitment to do something. So that's what this full moon is about. Let's go ahead and dive into what this is going to look like for all signs. All right, up first we have Aries rising and sun. So this full moon on May 1st in Scorpio is taking place in your 8th house. And I'm not going to lie, guys, I kind of just had like a full breakdown. I've been crying a lot today. I don't know. I think it's already the full moon that I'm feeling, but I was doing your reading and I just felt like I couldn't get something across. Like I felt like I was just starting and stopping and just the idea wasn't coming. I do think I have a really clear idea now of what this moon is about for you guys, but I just think that a lot of times there is like a translation there of the energy that I experienced to what you guys could be experiencing. So if you feel like there's something at this full moon that brings up maybe some insecurities or doubts, or maybe you feel like you need to work on the translation of a message, or the coming to a certain conclusion or a certain idea of something, just have patience with yourself. And I think that that's really applicable to a certain aspect of this full moon, which is Venus in the third, sextiling Saturn in the first. And I'll talk about that later. But I just wanted to let you know that there might be something here around clarifying your vision, your idea, getting something onto paper, getting a plan, making a commitment towards something, making, again, a decision around something. And it could have you like waffling a bit, potentially. This full moon is in the 8th house, though, and it's in Scorpio. So it is lighting up this area of deep emotions. It's lighting up things that could bring up kind of more of our survival instinct or certain, I guess, like coping mechanisms that we use to distract ourselves or to deal with heavy emotions that can often get in the way of our ability to move forward, like things that, yeah, kind of come up and distract ourselves. So you might feel a little bit of that to work through at this time. But luckily for you, your planetary ruler Mars is in its home sign. You got a lot of fucking planets in Aries, guys. You got Neptune, Saturn, Mars, and we also have Mercury and Chiron all in Aries. So you've been having this kind of cosmic push from the universe of like everything is about you in a way. So you're like in this really big period of time, especially with Saturn here. Really, you're here to make some kind of mark on the world. It doesn't matter what age you are. There is something that you are learning to solidify about your energy and purpose into the world to make a legacy and impact and a difference after you leave. And that is really becoming apparent. The idea around it or the actual manifestation around it or the action that you're taking towards it is becoming apparent really now, but like it's going to develop over these next 2.5 years. So if you are willing to listen to it, you can work with this energy and come into a greater purpose. And yeah, having Mars, your planetary ruler, in its home sign is going to create this sense of empowerment. When a planet is in its home sign, it can feel, I almost want to say like overwhelming, because sometimes that planet is like so pure in its own essence that it's like, whoa, it's a little bit crazy because of how undiluted and concentrated it is. And this Mars is really rearing to go. And it's making this square to Jupiter and Cancer in the 4th. So I really feel like one of the messages coming through right now with the square to Jupiter and Cancer in the 4th is that there might be a part of you that wants to cling to stability. Jupiter and Cancer in the 4th is about creating a beautiful, stable home. It's about saving money. It's about feeling rooted and grounded and self-care and making sure that you feel, yeah, again, safe and comfortable and taken care of. And that's a really beautiful thing. But at this time, that could be a little bit in conflict with your need to get out and go, to actualize, to push forward, regardless of the stress or of the difficulties that you encounter that could take you out of that comfort, nurturing environment. And so there might be something here around needing to like get out of your home or to even maybe move homes, or maybe there's some kind of change up of your environment, or just at the very act of like getting out of your emotional comfort zone to some degree, or being willing to maybe spend money or like take on some kind of financial risk. That could also be part of this. Almost like you're just feeding the dream and the vision and not just the desire for stability. And I see that in these cards. I asked Spirit, like, what are you learning here? And I got King of Pentacles in reverse or Knight of Cups upright. So part of what you're here to learn right now at this full moon is to not invest so much into being like, I don't want to say that because we do have Venus sextiling Saturn, and that can be quite financially conservative, or like, being budgeted and kind of planning out your money well. But this is like not just being practical, not just being security driven. This is about being driven by your hopes, your wishes, your dreams, your creative ventures, what excites you, what gets you up in the morning, and leaning into that inspiration. And the moon in the 8th can represent that there may be things around either finances or just like emotions or things involving other people that could sometimes get in the way of that. So we want to make sure that we're processing that and clearing that out of the way so that we can engage into the dream and the creative vision and whatever this is. So my next question was, what was my next question? What realistic expectations can I have of myself right now? And one of the reasons is because, again, we have Venus sextiling Saturn. Venus is in your third house. It's sextiling Saturn in your first. And so with Venus being in Gemini and in the third house, I really feel like you guys are in this phase of needing to collect support, collect information, maybe work together and collaborate with other people. I got the Three of Pentacles. So, yeah, there's definitely something here around gathering resources from other people's information. Maybe this is learning. Maybe this is speaking to different people. Maybe this is, I don't know, interviewing people, or like, again, collaborating with people. There's this energy of like a hive mind that can really inform your personal plan and decisions. And maybe you need to launch something into the world using other people's support or involving other people somehow. So that is the realistic expectation, is like, you can't do this on your own. I mean, you can, but you will do something better when you involve other people. That is like the expectation. I don't know how it's, yeah. Anyway, okay, so my next question is, what inspiration do you need to act on right now? We have the Queen of Pentacles upright and the Eight of Swords in reverse. So I feel like part of what this is saying is like, you are going to naturally be drawn right now towards your inspiration with Mars and Aries squaring Jupiter. You're going to feel like you have a vision, that you're excited, that you're creative, that you're inspired. And the Queen of Pentacles is somebody who's ready to put things into motion, put things into action, and to nurture this seed of an idea and to bring it to life. So I think that if there's anything involving this, again, this idea, this vision, to do that, it could even be related to home with the Queen of Pentacles, or just something that is going to build financial security in the long run. But with the Eight of Swords in reverse, like, part of what this is saying is that you are meant to be feeling at times like you are getting out of your own way. You might feel like there are, yeah, the Eight of Swords when it's upright is a lot about feeling trapped in your own thoughts. And maybe it's because things in the past have not worked out, or maybe you've had certain relationship issues. If this is a collaboration and you've had collaborations in the past that haven't worked out, this could speak to that. If this is about putting yourself out there relationally or emotionally, maybe this is about, feeling uncertain in that because of past dynamics with people or situations. So whatever this is, it's about kind of getting out of your own way and making sure that those past events don't carry forward with you emotionally into this new chapter. Because I feel like you are meant to be working with other people. And so that might be an area that feels sticky with this full moon being in the 8th house. You could feel like that's a growth edge for you, but in a positive way. I feel like you're really going to get the benefits out of working with people at this time. My last question is, how is this going to positively impact other people? We have the King of Swords. I don't know, there's something about like what you're going to teach, what you're going to share, and this could be Uranus moving into your 3rd house. But there's something about your ideas, your perspective, or the work that you want to do, or the people that you want to collaborate with, or the people that you come in contact with. You're somehow going to impact the way that they see the world. I feel like you guys are here to help maybe shake up the perspective that people have on something, or you are going to be a source of wisdom and discernment for other people. So there's something about that where I feel like people are going to come to you or for information, or there's something about what you're thinking about now that is going to have like a mental impact on people. Again, like reframing things or giving them like clarity about themselves, or somehow supporting them through like logistics. Like there's something about that where I feel like you're really going to be able to help people see things honestly and clearly, and maybe even be more aware of things that are potentially innovative, or like be more aware of what they need right now. There's a lot of different ways that this can come across. So that's what I see for you, Aries. If that resonates, let me know in the comments down below. Don't forget to give me a thumbs up and subscribe and hype the video. And I hope you have a beautiful day. Bye. All right, up next we have Taurus rising and sun. This Scorpio full moon is happening in your 7th house on May 1st. And this is a time when you guys might find that you are going through relationship healing. there may be some certain realizations around things that have happened in the past that you are uncovering, or you may see something clearly for the first time, or be releasing something for the first time, or, for something that's been ongoing. So it's like maybe somebody becomes clear on who they are, where they stand, or maybe you start to realize that you want something different, or that you need something in your relationships, or you need to show up differently, or yeah, just things like from the past, again, emotionally could be contributing to your current reality within relationships, and like contracts with businesses as well, and just this feeling of partnership. So just these areas of your life could feel like they're going through a little bit of a renovation from the inside out. And I think that this has been a long and kind of ongoing process. And especially now that Uranus has officially moved into Gemini to stay for many years to come, you are going to be kind of going through a little bit of a shift. Now that it's out of your sign, I think that you guys might find that you are more like a magnetic to people, just because Uranus sometimes has this feeling of like creating distance. It can often like create a little bit of alienation or separation from people, because it takes us through this larger soul evolutionary lesson of needing to find what our authentic message is, what our authentic life is. And sometimes that means we have to separate from people to do that. And that doesn't mean that every Taurus has been separated, but it just means that like if you've had any relationship stuff going on, Uranus in your sign could have spoken to that. So now that it's moved into Gemini, I think everyone is changing up how they relate. I mean, it's going to be a long journey, but I just think it's going to open up a little bit more doors for you, and like more curiosity towards others in a different way. If you've been kind of hermiting, if you've been somewhat closed off, if you've been somewhat isolated, if people have been distant from you, if you've been distant from them, if you felt this like emotional, just like isolation or even deprivation in some way. This again might not resonate with everybody, but if that has been a case for you, I could see you guys kind of coming out of that. Part of what this full moon is going to bring up for you could be about rebuilding. I got this Five of Pentacles in reverse. So this is about like, what are you learning? Your planetary ruler, Venus, is in Gemini in the second house, making this exact sextile to Saturn in the 12th. So I think part of what you're learning could be potentially around like financial awareness, or like building up your finances. But I think a lot of you guys, it's more so around like self-worth, trying to build yourself back up if relationships have been a problem at all, or if there's been anything going wrong with people. If you've been somehow, again, not getting certain needs met within dynamics of people, you might find that you are needing to learn how to build yourself back up, that self-worth, by taking care of yourself, by loving yourself, by feeding into yourself, by prioritizing and valuing yourself. If you've overextended yourself for others, if you've tried to prove yourself to others, if you've done the most for others, you might find that this is a time where you kind of need to pull back your energy and give to yourself, fill your own cup. Maybe take some time alone. Even though this is a relational full moon, I think it's equally about making sure that you are number one in your own life, within your relationships as well. We also have the ruler of this moon, Mars, squaring Jupiter in your third. So you might have some certain realizations around how you approach relationships, and how you approach your self-care. And Jupiter in the third can be quite good for like meeting people in your local area, and especially when it comes to like doing things like that are already nurturing. So like maybe meeting up with a women's group, or going to yoga, or doing something that just feels like nurturing to you specifically. So it is a quite like social placement, but with Mars in the 12th, I feel like this full moon is kind of asking us to like maybe take a little bit of a step back from that. Instead, there could be though like a potential energy here of being able to maybe go on a retreat, or have some kind of like bubble that you can create for yourself with other people in a more intimate way or spiritual way that could benefit you at this time, if that's something that's interesting you. So I asked Spirit, what is a realistic expectation you can have of yourself now? And I got the Empress. So I feel like you guys are starting to tap into the abundance of the energy in the world around you right now. I think you're going to start to see that, again, that there may be more social opportunities than you thought, or maybe that there are more relational or financial opportunities than you thought there were. Or I don't know, I just think that you're like, it's interesting that the realistic expectation is like making your idea of life like more expansive, more abundant, rather than the reality becoming like smaller. So I feel like you guys have actually been in kind of like a small, like scarcity mindset of there's not enough money, there's not enough people, there's not enough this. And with this Mars squaring Jupiter in the third, I feel like Spirit's trying to tell you it's actually realistic to think bigger and to realize that there is more out there. Like the odds of you meeting somebody great are really high. There's millions of people, billions of people in the world. The odds of you making more money are really high because there are so many different types of jobs that you could get if the one that you have isn't working out. So it's almost like showing you what you don't know, what you didn't know. It's like seeing what you couldn't see before, seeing opportunities that you couldn't see before, and having that open up and widen your world in a bigger way. My last question was, what inspiration do you need to act on now? Because largely, I think that's what this full moon is about. It's about acting on some type of inspiration that we're feeling. And I got the Queen of Cups. So I feel like you guys, the inspiration here is more of like an internal one. Again, this is Mars in the 12th house. This is a changing relationship from the inside out, like I mentioned. So there's something here about being inspired to maybe act on like creative desires, or like wanting to, being driven by something intuitively, emotionally, to satisfy yourself, to nurture yourself, to uplift yourself. So again, like this could be something spiritual, this could be something creative, this could be something like emotionally supportive. I don't know what this is, but the Queen of Cups is speaking to how do we support our own change, our own evolution by like nurturing and caring for ourselves like a mother archetype would. That's the inspiration right now. So it's like digging a little bit deeper into what that would look like for you, and offering that support to yourself is going to then infiltrate and benefit your relationships and the possibilities that you see there. Or again, this could be about finances a little bit, but I think it's mostly centered about others. So that's what I see for you. I hope that that is helpful for you. Let me know in the comments down below. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, hype the video, comment, and I hope you have a great day. Bye. All right, myself, Gemini rising and sun. This Scorpio full moon happening on May 1st is taking place in your 6th house. And we have the ruler of this moon, Mars, in your 11th house, squaring Jupiter in your 2nd. So I'm going to break all this down, but I feel like you guys are going through a phase where this, first of all, Uranus has moved into your sign recently. So I think a big part of this whole like energy right now is quite potent, that you are getting yourself familiar with, is this idea of like adaptability. And this full moon is in the 6th house, which is related to routine. So there's something about like your stability, your routine, like what you do every day, your habits, maybe even the way that you manage your health and like how you're taking care of your body. There's something about that that I think is not working, and Spirit wants you to shake things up in some kind of way. One of the main messages that I got is about resting. So, well, I got 3 main messages. So the first question I asked is, what do you need to learn about or be patient about with yourself? And I got the stillness card and the 4 of Pentacles. So there's something about this period of time where I actually feel like you guys are needing to learn more so how to kind of like conserve your energy. There might be something in relation to the physical body that is somewhat disrupted as Uranus moves into your 1st house. Uranus tends to do that if you're a Uranus or Gemini rising, or even if it's over your sun. Uranus moving into your sign, like it rules over the electrical circuits of the body. So it can be very stimulating and anxiety producing. And as a Gemini, you can probably see it on my face. I've just been like so frazzled and just feeling like I'm running around in circles and like I'm not really resting, but I'm not really being productive, and it's absolutely killing me. inside. So there's something about this that you guys might be feeling as well, where maybe you're not feeling that exactly, but you might feel like a little bit buzzed in some way, or like you have a lot to do and maybe it's like overstimulating in some capacity. Maybe there's a lot of changes going on. Or maybe you're like me and you're feeling kind of frazzled and scattered. Whatever it is, I think that part of what we're learning right now with the Four of Pentacles and stillness is like this preservation and conservation of energy, and being able to work that into our routine instead of it being something that gets like left to the side, but really making sure that that becomes like a staple of the day or something planned within the day. Is how do I create stillness? How do I create quiet? How do I disconnect also from social media? With Mercury, your planetary ruler, conjunct Chiron in Aries in the 11th, we really, really need to disconnect from social media right now, because there is a potential for quite a lot of like toxic narratives to get in the Gemini's mind. So I think that, Uranus in your first, Mercury and Chiron in the 11th together, a lot here is like pertaining to the internet and the way that that can influence our psychological and emotional health. So that's going to be a big thing as well. It's like, how healthy am I? How regulated is my nervous system? Uranus tends to dysregulate it. It tends to be like an upper in a way, a stimulant. And so we really need to like take a step back, find stillness, carve out those times away from the internet, away from screens, away from other people's voices and opinions and things like that that can get inside of your head, and protect your space. Okay, so the next question that I had is, what realistic expectations can you set of yourself? This was really interesting. I think that like part of what this full moon is about is, again, breaking from routine in some way. I have the Seven of Swords in reverse and then the She Who Surprises card. So with Uranus in your house, just moving into Gemini, this is a time when we are meant to be breaking the mold of what has been done before. My Geminis are going to be the most inventive people over the next 7 or 8 years. You guys are going to be really digging into what it would be like to create a whole new vision for life, to operate in an entirely different way, and to reconceptualize things that people have always accepted in a certain manner. And so in order to be able to do that, you have to make room to break the routine of your day, to disrupt the things that are on autopilot, because you can't think of something completely outside the box when you're doing everything that you've always done in the same way that you've always done it and thinking the same way. And so part of what the realistic expectation is now is to allow yourself to experience detours, to take a different way home from work, or if something comes up in the middle of your day and just knocks you completely off course, going with the flow of that and trying to see where you could innovate or like learn something from that experience. Like there might actually be something that you gain from being involved in the unexpected or being taken out of your plan. The Seven of Swords, when it's upright, is very strategic. Again, it's very routine, it's very planned. It knows exactly what it wants and like how to get its goal. But with Uranus, it's a lot more about the process of experimentation and discovery. And when you invent something, you have to mess it up like 100 times before you get it. So there's something about this where you're going to have maybe a feeling of time being wasted or messing certain things up in order to get to the end result that is actually going to be a lot better than if you just stayed doing the same thing that kind of worked but wasn't really fulfilling or wasn't really that great. So there's something here about being willing to like try a lot of things, being willing to be wrong, being willing to waste time, waste energy, being willing to get distracted, take detours, and roll with the punches of that. And like actually trying to extract the magic from those experiences and learn and apply things that you have gained from those to different areas of your life that will actually benefit you a great deal later on. That could potentially have to deal with Mars in the 11th squaring Jupiter in the 2nd, where you guys might be getting a lot of like new ideas, especially when it comes to like either like how to make money. You guys could be getting new ideas around how to make money, or maybe you guys are having some kind of like vision of like something that you want to do, maybe in terms of like community or friends, or maybe there's like some kind of like larger life goal or mission that you're thinking about. And with that square Jupiter in the 2nd, you could be there could be something that you want to be like financially conservative around or practical around that could keep you from really kind of like expanding into that environment. Or maybe you're used to doing things on your own. And so you're like not considering necessarily the community or the other people that you could rely on or build up in some way. So there's something around this that you guys are needing to contend with right now. I think that you guys are really here to kind of like, again, with Uranus in your sign, and then with all these planets piling up in the 11th house, with the Hierophant, I feel like this is about what inspiration do you need to act on. I really feel like this is meant to be the Hierophant in reverse. I feel like there's something about what you guys are meant to be doing right now that is breaking tradition or creating your own tradition. I think that's the biggest way to look at this. Creating your own tradition, creating your own, type of friends or type of community, or maybe you have some kind of like goal or vision of how you spend your life, or even how you manage your health, or how you manage your time or your days, that is supposed to be like, again, making your own rules. I see that with this she who resists and then she who forgives with like guilt and remorse. I feel like you guys are almost here to help people, like kind of be the way showers of like, there's a different way to live. There's a way to resist the direction that people are going in, to resist like the narratives that people are being swept into, and to almost like to ask for forgiveness instead of permission. I don't know. There's something here that's really interesting with this of like being defiant in some way against society or against like a specific path that everyone goes down. I feel like you guys are meant to be thinking about new ways of pioneering a kind of, a new community, a new friendship group, a new goal, something like that that's totally different. So what's the what do I need to act on now? There might be some inspiration around that. Or again, this could be some like way of that you want to work on like physical or mental health, like maybe some way of healing yourself for others that is like non-traditional that you guys are meant to be doing as well. Let me just see if there's any clarifiers, since that seems a little bit abstract. We have the Wheel of Fortune. Clarify this Hierophant card. We have Wheel of Fortune, the Six of Cups, and Nine of Swords. I feel like you guys are also here to like end some kind of family cycle. Like again, and I think that this is like breaking tradition in some way. Like everybody in our family has always done it like this. I don't know. There's something about that you're meant to be turning the wheel in your favor so that you are able to accomplish something that maybe somebody in your family couldn't, or maybe there was like some cycle that people were wrapped up in that you are able to get out of. There's something favorable in that direction that's trying to come through for you. So that could also be worth thinking about. But this could also be like societally, like, oh, people have always struggled with this, but I want to invent this or create this new type of looking at things or new way of living that is going to allow me to feel like I'm advancing in some way and not getting stuck in, the way it was done. Six of Swords and Nine of Swords. Yeah, there could also be like fears of the past that I feel like you're getting over. I don't know. There's a lot of ways to look at this. But yeah, I'm just going to end it there because I could keep going, but at some point I have to stop. So that's what I see for you, Gemini. If that resonates, let me know down below. Don't forget to give me a thumbs up, subscribe, hype the video, and have a beautiful day. Bye. All right, up next we have Cancer, Rising, and Sun. So this Scorpio full moon happening on May 1st is taking place in your 5th house. So anytime we have a full moon in the 5th, it can help us realize more of what we want. This moon in particular with Mars in Aries, which is very much connected to our drive, our willpower, our desire nature. And this is also squaring your Jupiter. I say your Jupiter because it's in Cancer in your 1st house, Cancer rising or sun. And so, I mean, obviously if you have your sun in a different house, it'll be in that house. But anyway, okay. So yeah. So it's going to connect you more to your desire nature at this time. One of the things that I feel like we are meant to be doing is kind of indulging that desire, feeding that desire. Jupiter in the 1st is going to require that you grow outside of your comfort zone, that you expand your self-concept, that you think that you're possible, like that it is possible for you to do more or hold more. And so there might be some growth edges that we encounter at this time that is going to be really beneficial for you, Cancer. So I pulled a card, like I pulled a few different cards. One of them is, what are you learning right now from this? And I got the Page of Pentacles, and then she who sees, observe, perceive, scrutinize. I think that you guys are learning how to trust the visions that are coming to you around something that you want to build, something that is going to help elevate your life and again expand you in some way. So maybe you have, again, maybe a dream come to you, or a vision, like I said, or something come to you through journaling or talking to someone, and it's this idea, or seed of an idea with the Page of Pentacles, something that's quite new or underdeveloped in some way that feels exciting. Maybe some of you, it's something in relation to your children. Maybe you're realizing that you want to like change something in regards to how you take care of them, or that you want to have kids before that you didn't, or maybe there's a creative thing that you want to bring to life. It's just going to depend on whatever this is for each person. It could be wanting to start a new relationship, but whatever this is, it's trusting your instinct with things, trusting that it's okay to want these things, that your intuition is telling you the right thing, and that you can lean into that. I will say though, one of the things I asked is, what's a realistic expectation that you could have right now? And I got the Queen of Swords in reversed, along with She Who Flies, Dare Do Reach. So I will say, having your Jupiter and your sign squaring Mars, there could be a little bit of this friction where people push back against what you want in some way. Maybe people like doubt you, or maybe you compare yourself to like what's out in the world already, and it makes you doubt yourself. Or, maybe there are like traditions and institutions or governmental figures or parents or family or bosses or anything that somehow create like a little bit of friction in regards to this growth. Like maybe there is something that you're rubbing up against with that. And maybe there's even criticism. Like sometimes we set out on a path and we have a voice and we dare to do more, and then people are like, no, we want you to go back into your old version. We want you to keep parenting the kids the way that you were doing it. We don't want you to date. I don't know. It's like there's can often be like implicit messaging basically in the way that people speak to us or treat us, that they like us the way that we are. They like us in a certain manner. So there might be something around that where you guys kind of have to like hold your own and maintain your connection to your vision, and also the logic around the vision. Like if you have any kind of plan, maintaining your connection to that plan and not letting it get caught up and swayed by looking at other people, or by allowing other people's narratives or influences or anything like that kind of infiltrate your own sense of certainty and clarity. So that's a really big message here for you guys as well. The last card that I pulled is, what inspiration do you need to act on now? Because again, a lot of this full moon is about gathering our inspiration and really wanting the things that we want and moving towards them with confidence. So what is it that you should be acting on? We have the 10 of Pentacles. This is some kind of like legacy in our life. Hello. Okay. The video just froze, which is super odd. That like never happens. So that does make me relate this to something. I just don't know what. Maybe you feel like you've been behind. Maybe you think like things have been taking slower, or like you're somehow behind people. And that can often feel a case when Saturn's in our 10th. It could feel like, oh, this is going to take a long time, or, what if it's, whatever. I don't know. There's something about the 10 of Pentacles as a legacy. It is something that's going to last a long time, and it often takes a long time to build a legacy. It doesn't just happen overnight. So that's what you guys are meant to be inspired by. You're meant to be taking action on something that is going to build a legacy. Maybe it's you're deciding to have kids in the long term. Maybe you are planning to, I don't know, save a bunch of money to do something big and important, or write a book and that takes many years to do. There's something like this where it's like, I need to build something up over time. So I think that you're meant to be moving into that. But I also feel like you're meant to be finding like a sense of stability within this pursuit of the legacy. Because I also pulled the stillness card. So I feel like there's something about the inspiration that's striking you right now that is not meant to like stir you into a frenzy. It feels like you're meant to take kind of this calm and calculated action towards the goal, acting on your inspiration, slowly moving towards it rather than feeling like you have to rush, rather than feeling like you have to have it all figured out right now. There's this very strong energy around being calm, around being present, collected, level-headed, logical, and not letting other people's like nervousness or anxiety or fears or anything that they put like project onto you, not letting that get in your own head in some kind of way. But yeah, the moon in the fifth, it's like, again, there could be something related to kids. I mean, that's pretty much the message here, but let me just see if there's anything else. Spirit, is there any other messages that you feel like you want to share? So we have the Six of Cups and Nine of Pentacles. This might be something that you guys are, I mean, Venus is in the 12th house and it's sextiling Saturn in the 10th. This might be something that is like a childhood dream. Or again, if you want children, this could speak to like you wanting children or you something with your children, but there's something about it that's like with the Nine of Pentacles that you're meant to do on your own. Maybe you're meant to make money on your own with this thing, or maybe you are meant to be financially independent so that you can have children or something else like that. But there's something about this being related to children and independence in some way. So I'll let you connect those dots if that relates to your like childhood or children or something. Okay. Anyway, so that's what I see for you, Cancer. I hope that this is helpful or resonates. Let me know in the comments down below if it does. And don't forget to like the video, hype the video, share it with your friends, and have a beautiful day. Bye. All right, I have Leo rising and sun. This Scorpio full moon happening on May 1st is taking place in your 4th house. So this time you could have some things coming up around home or family, like any full moon in the 4th house. But I feel like ultimately what a Scorpio full moon does is it tends to bring a lot of stuff to the surface. And the 4th house tends to be almost like a really still pond. Things don't agitate that pond. Things stay comfortable. Things stay still. And so like when you throw a rock, like the Scorpio full moon does, into it, a bunch of shit will splash out into the side and you start to see it clearly. And so there's something about this time where you guys are meant to be maybe digging a little bit deeper into your shadows, into your psyche, but coming from a place of like healing and purifying and releasing. So if there has been something in your life that you have maybe like believed about yourself, or maybe there's some kind of perspective of the world, or just anything really, but if there's some kind of spiritual belief especially, or something like that that has maybe left you feeling like you are lacking faith in society, faith in yourself, faith in like God or the universe or whatever, I feel like you guys are meant to be pulling that out of you, like seeing the gunk of it everywhere and being like, yeah, I have like really lacked faith at times. Maybe there's been stuff that pushed me, stuff that tested me, something that made me question my very existence at different times of my life. And it's brought me here. And so the Scorpio full moon is here to help you purge the doubt, purge those feelings and everything that it brought up, and then re-engage your sense of hope with life. Like recommit to maybe certain beliefs, just like feeling like there is a sense of like faith and hope and optimism, and the things that you were questioning, the things that you were down and out about, and viewing the world maybe through a more kind of like pessimistic lens, really having a look at what was causing that, so that you can again feel lighter, feel freer, feel like there's a better thing on the horizon. So that's part of what you're learning at this time with this full moon. So I also asked, what's a realistic expectation that we should have? And I got the Ace of Wands. So I feel like you guys, again, are getting your spark back, and that's what you should be proud of yourself for. I feel like this is a time where, again, maybe with Saturn in the 9th and Saturn-Neptune conjunction in the 9th, maybe your spark is something that you kind of lost for a little bit there. And that's normal. That's okay. That sometimes happens when major life changes happen, especially over the course of many years, if that's been the case for you. And even if it hasn't, maybe it's just been an internal process. But I think you guys are getting your spark back with the Ace of Wands. And this is saying that you should be, again, proud of that, or almost like giving yourself recognition for that, validating that within yourself. And whatever like new actions that you've been taking recently, it's bringing you back to life in some kind of way. And this full moon wants you to kind of give yourself a pat on the back for how maybe you found a different way to self-care or a different way to grow in some way that is benefiting you. Um, Whatever it is, it's getting you back on your feet in some capacity. So if you haven't been doing anything like that, this is a really good time to start and to give yourself credit for very small steps. Like, oh, I got up a little bit earlier, or I ate a little bit healthier, or I walked outside before I started work, or I didn't go on my phone before bed. Like, it's really small stuff. I mean, might not feel small, but like those are, yeah, in the scope of life, like it seems like a little small task, but it's actually making a really big difference. And you should really congratulate yourself if that's something that you are working on or committing to at this time, or even thinking about committing to. Okay, the last card that I pulled is about what are you inspired by that you're meant to move into right now? Because Mars ruling this full moon and squaring Jupiter is all about igniting that sense of inspiration. And again, this really comes through in terms of like hope for you guys. But I got the Lovers card, and I actually kind of feel like this is more related to Venus being in your 11th and sextiling Saturn in the 9th. I don't know. Maybe you guys have been doing more to stabilize your relationships. Maybe you've been showing up more. Maybe you've been putting more effort. Maybe you're trying to meet people, or you are just like putting energy towards that in some way, or just going to more social gatherings or social situations. Yeah, I don't know what it is. Maybe you're just like kind of getting out of your comfort zone a little bit and doing something that you don't usually do with Uranus in your 11th house. Mixing up that social dynamic, and I think that's really suiting you right now. So part of what you're meant to be inspired by is taking new strides and new leaps to get out of your comfort zone and try new stuff and meet new people. And I think that's, again, putting effort into that area is really going to help build you up in some kind of way that is going to make you feel like there is something to live for. Sometimes when we are down and out, or we're just like losing our sense of like purposeness, like why are we purposeness? That's definitely not a word. Purposefulness, purpose, meaninglessness. If life could feel meaningless sometimes. This ninth house, though, is really supposed to ignite that sense of like hope that there is meaning, that there are new things to try, there are new people to meet, there are new adventures to go on, that we don't just have to be like, I don't know, holed up in our house or doing whatever. Like it's definitely a good time to feel like there are better times ahead. And I think that you guys are going to be able to feel more like that. I can't stop touching my fucking hair. I feel like you guys are going to feel like that if you hang out with more people or try new stuff in your community. Okay, I'm going to be done now. I hope you guys have a great day. Thank you so much for staying tuned. If this is helpful, let me know in the comments. I am trying to grow my channel, so if you want to be a part of that, please do like, subscribe, comment, hype, and I hope you have a great day. Bye. All right, I'm going to see Virgo rising and sun. So for you guys, this Scorpio full moon on May 1st is taking place in your 3rd house. And the ruler of this moon, Mars, is in your 8th. I do kind of wonder if there is like something going on that you learn about, that you hear about with this Tower card, that is somehow disruptive to your sense of like, yeah, just spinning you, like your sense of well-being, but like spinning you on your axis in some way. Like I was orienting this way and now I'm orienting this way. Or maybe there's something in terms of your nervous system and your like overall energy that is feeling a little bit like off right now, because your planetary ruler Mercury is also conjunct Chiron in the 8th. Maybe you guys are feeling a little bit more insecure, or you feel like maybe something in your life is destabilizing or chaotic in some way. And I asked Spirit, like, what is this meant to help teach you right now? And I got the She Who Surrenders card in conjunction with this. And this is really speaking to me that the things that are disruptive, the things that feel outside of your control, the things that are drudging up the past, or insecurities or fears, or that feel tumultuous or chaotic or upending, if there's anything like that going on, this is meant to teach you how to surrender and get out of maybe some kind of like cycle. I really feel like there is this need to innovate, and this could potentially speak directly to your career or your trajectory in your future, with Uranus now moving into Gemini in your 10th. There is some kind of energy here around like maybe having complete change up in your goals and your priorities and your vision for your future. And maybe you wouldn't have thought about those things if these things weren't being shaken up in some way. I don't know. I just feel like you guys are meant to get out of a limited perspective, and you are meant to be embracing and opening for more or for different things that you hadn't maybe originally considered a while back. And Mars, the ruler of this full moon in the 8th, is squaring Jupiter in the 11th. So I really, again, I feel like there's this opening here of using like somehow like wounding or insecurity to open up to maybe new groups, new collectives, new visions, new people to associate with, new directions in your life. There's something around that that I feel like is really meant to help you. And this could also push you within your relationships. Maybe there's something going on here that makes you want to recoil from relationships, but that's actually the area of growth. So maybe you're feeling insecure, uncertain about yourself or about the, engaging with people. So there's something here where it's like, how can you not like hold yourself back, basically? How can you get unstuck and start to change and open your mind and your perspective to maybe new people or new ventures that you want to go down, and like actually, yeah, almost like embracing the changes that are coming through in life right now as well as a part of that path. So I asked another question to the cards. I asked, what is it that is a realistic expectation for you right now? And we got the Ace of Cups in reverse, and then the transformation card, She Who Changes. I feel like you guys are going through a metamorphosis emotionally, and this could deal with you guys initially feeling a little bit, maybe, again, like I got that like idea of like recoiling or somehow like pulling back in some kind of way. Again, especially with your planetary ruler conjunct Chiron in the 8th. I mean, this can just bring up a lot of like sensitivity, and so you might need a little bit of time alone. So with this card in reverse, it can speak to feeling like you have a lot of emotions, but they might be kind of blocked. So part of what you're going through right now is transforming this, working through this. If there are these insecurities, then you're coming back to nurturing yourself, filling yourself up, and being able to transform the difficult feelings into something useful that can, again, fuel your future, fuel you going into new direction or meeting new people. I just feel like it's going to be quite constructive, actually, to have these initial like upset. This initial upset, I think, is like going to be the fuel when you work with it and engage it and transform it, that is going to lead you to something better, especially in terms of career and relationships. The last card that I pulled is like, what are you meant to be? What are you meant to be ignited by, inspired by, and moving towards? And I got the 7 of Cups and the She Who Calms, Stillness, Purity, and Quiet. So the 7 of Cups is a Neptune card. So there might be something spiritual coming through for you guys right now. So part of what could inspire you is maybe some type of like creative or spiritual vision that's coming through, especially if you are in, meditation, or if you have a longing to be out in nature, or to, again, spend some time alone, or to go to therapy, or like cultivate more of a relationship with yourself, like having a little bit of extra time to spend with yourself. I feel like that's when the 7 of Cups vision can emerge, like the vision of what you want to create, or some divine download, or some kind of healing or inspiration can come to you with the 7 of Cups at that time. The 7 of Cups is like seeing a limitless possibilities. You guys are meant to be opening up to, like, again, I keep saying this, but new horizons, new ideas, new ways of doing things, new ways of meeting people, new ways of emotionally responding to things. I really feel like that's where you're meant to be getting the most from this full moon. This is a full moon in the 3rd house of the mind. So it's supposed to be opening up and clearing away all the stuff that was getting in the way of your mind, so that you can see things clearly and see all the limitless possibilities. Whereas before, you might have felt like, okay, I have to choose between this, and I have to do it this way or this way. And it's like, actually, there's like 100 different ways you could do this. So that's what I'm seeing with the 7 of Cups, is that you guys are meant to be like the thing that you're meant to be inspired by is this idea of potentialities, and that if you have enough time alone, or if you have enough time in quiet or in meditation, or somehow separate from the chaos of the world, you will be able to see those possibilities come to life before you. So that's what I see for you, Virgo. I hope that resonates. If it does, let me know in the comments down below. Don't forget to give me a thumbs up, subscribe, hype the video, and have a beautiful day. Bye. All right, next we have Libra, rising and sun. So this Scorpio full moon happening on May 1st is taking place in your second house of finances. And this new moon is, or this, oh my God, I keep saying new moon. I literally cannot stop saying new moon. Maybe that's somehow connected to the Taurus new moon that we're going to be having. But anyway, this full moon is going to definitely bring up a lot around stability, security, finances, self-worth, especially in regards to how that like stems from relationships or affects other people in your life, or has some kind of influence from the people around you. So there's something in regards to that. So for example, I have a friend who's Libra rising who's considering moving, but then is thinking about her child. And so it's like there's this idea of stability, security, and finances and resources and the home, and her wanting to make decisions based off of her child. So there could be things like that. I mean, that's one really small example, and it could really fit any, like a number of situations. But with the ruler of this moon, Mars, being in your seventh house of relationships, there is a strong influence here around partnerships, contracts, again, considering other people in relationships, and how that affects your finances or your self-worth or your sense of security and rootedness. This Mars in the 7th is also squaring Jupiter in Cancer in your 10th. So there's a little bit of this push and pull between what one person wants or like what you're committed to with someone or with a company versus like a larger trajectory in life with Jupiter in the 10th, maybe a desire to go out and like move forward on a specific goal or pursue something that interests you or expand in some way that is going to impact the world or impact your legacy. So I'm seeing this push and pull dynamic, almost like I want to make money and I want to support my partner, but I also want to go and pursue this personal dream of mine, this personal goal of mine. So that is like another way that this could manifest, that kind of that feeling of I want to grow, I want to expand this thing in my life, but I also feel this sense of urgency or even responsibility towards my commitment to another person or another company or something like that. So so I asked Spirit, what are you learning? And I got the Queen of Pentacles, and I also got the She Who Regrets, Battle, Victory, Bitterness. So this is interesting because your planetary ruler, Venus, is in Gemini in your 9th house, and it's making a sextile to Saturn in Aries in your 7th. So yeah, I don't know. It made me wonder if there's something here where you guys are almost having to like learn how to stand up for what you want, or like learn how to like fight for a certain belief, or especially around with the Queen of Pentacles, around things like home or nurturing yourself or pursuing a specific thing that you think would fill you up, or finances or something related to family. Like there might be something in that regard that you guys are feeling like, I don't know, you just might be learning something here in order to, kind of like stand up and stand firm behind your belief around your desire for something or your value around something. So like if one person really values maybe buying a house or having a family, or I don't know, it could be anything, but one person maybe values it, maybe one person doesn't, or I don't know. I just feel like you guys are going to have to like stand up for yourself in some way, or like vouch for yourself, or like push for something that you feel like is going to actually create some kind of stability for you as an individual. So yeah, there might be that feeling of having to kind of meet resistance. And Saturn in the 7th, even though this is a positive aspect, I do feel like Saturn, in its fall in the 7th house, it does kind of like the overarching lesson for these next 2 years for you guys is really going to be centered around kind of developing the boundaries within your relationship. Like, how much do I give versus how much do I take? What is selfish versus what is selfless? And like the balance of those things is not going to be clear. You guys are going to be tested at various stages around what that looks like. And so this might be one of those stages. And again, it could concern independence or doing something on your own or pursuing something that you want to pursue or buying something that you want to buy or something around finances and security and your work. There could be like larger things right now that you are wanting, but again, there could be a little bit of a pull from other people or existing commitments or others' expectations of you that makes you kind of feel like, can I do this or should I do this? And so this is a time of kind of fighting for what is going to nurture and stabilize you as a person and ultimately will give back to you financially. The second set of cards that I pulled was to ask, what is realistic of you right now? And I got the King of Pentacles in reverse, and then the She Who Becomes, Metamorphosis, Transcend, and Journey. So part of what this full moon is about, being in Scorpio, is about release and purging something. And with this being in the King of Pentacles in your second house, there's something around releasing like material comforts, releasing security, releasing things that you own, releasing the ways that you make money. So maybe some of you guys could have some kind of endings happening or considering that, or that you are considering in regards to your material world. So maybe you are thinking again of changing your job or changing your place of living or changing something that feels very secure and long-standing for you. And so this is telling you it's realistic right now to allow yourself to feel unstable, to not to like uproot from a place that feels very secure and feel that wobbly and in-betweenness. That's realistic for you to go through so that you can plant yourself somewhere that feels more stable. So it's almost like if you decide to like take less hours at your job so that you could pursue a side business, for example. You are kind of, I mean, it's not full on like leaving a commitment, but there is this straddling of like, I'm taking a certain amount of risk and adding a little bit of instability in my life as I transition into a different place of making money. So that's just an example. Hopefully that you guys can plant yourself in what this makes sense for you. The last cards that I pulled is, what is the inspiration that you are meant to follow right now that can positively impact others? And funnily enough, we got one of the most steadfast cards. We got the Knight of Pentacles. And this full moon really is about following our inspiration. We have this huge stellium in Aries. We have all direct planets. We have the ruler of this moon, this full moon, making this square to Jupiter, which gives us a lot of energy and vision about what we want. And so you guys are meant to be thinking about, what is it that I could be building for myself in a new place? Like, again, I think that you guys are meant to be destabilizing so that you could seek stability in another place. So maybe this is, again, seeking money or home or roots or something around like what you own, or your sense of security is meant to be put into a different location or coming from a different source. And so the Knight of Pentacles is like, how can you build that up and get inspired by what it would look like to take the steps and take the action to make these changes? This card literally says changes. So it's being inspired to look at like an actual plan. And this is going to take some time. I don't feel like this is an immediate switch for most of you. This feels like you're slowly kind of moving, like you're taking an egg from this carton and you're placing it over in this carton. You're like going one at a time. That's kind of the vibe that I'm getting. Like, I think that you guys might need to take small steps and build up to something that is going to happen maybe a couple months from now, for example. So that's what I'm seeing for you guys. I think that you guys are absolutely meant to embrace this time of like reframing or reconsidering where the source of security comes from for you, and trust your own vision around this. Don't let other people get in the way of this, your pursuit of this. So that's what I see for you, Libra. If that resonates, let me know in the comments down below. Don't forget to give me a thumbs up and subscribe, and have a beautiful day. Bye. All right, next we have Scorpio rising and sun. So this is your full moon, Scorpio. It's in your first house, happening on May 1st. And it's a good time in the sense that your planetary ruler Mars is in its home sign of Aries, which means that you guys are likely going to feel like things are maybe flowing a little bit easier at this time. But a full moon in your sign is always going to be, to some degree, about a little bit of like a purge. And this full moon is squaring Pluto in your fourth, so there could be purging of emotions, of things that are related to your family, things that are related to your home, things that are that worry you maybe, or that cause you some type of stress. This could be a time where you are kind of confronted with your fears or your attachments or anything like that related to your security, even financial security or family security. So that could be coming up for you right now, but ultimately this full moon again is about release. And so it's going to give you the opportunity right now to, I mean, ultimately, I asked Spirit, like, what is it that you're learning? I pulled the King of Swords in reverse and the being present card. So I think that ultimately you are kind of learning about how there is not always a way to, like, how do I put this? You can have fears that are illogical, or even if they're logical, but there are some things that are, you can't like decide, or you can't find like a reason for it, or you can't fully like grasp it intellectually. It could be confusing. It could be things that, yeah, just make you feel a little bit uncertain, or you could have like really specific viewpoints that you are holding on to despite other reasoning and logic coming your way. So part of what you're learning how to do, I feel like, is almost like come into a state of being a little bit more present and malleable, so that the mind doesn't try to latch onto things and try to understand things and categorize things and name things and this and that and the other. I almost feel like maybe you are in a phase of like transition. I'm just really getting the feeling that you guys are like this kind of clay and you're coming into form, but you're not supposed to have all the answers right now with something, or if you do feel like you have the answers, like Spirit is going to put you in situations that might challenge your notion of what those answers are. Or if you are worried about something and overly attached to this kind of like repetitive thought around something, then Spirit is trying to get you to come back into the present, come back into the body, and stop projecting so much into the future. That's really big with Venus being in your 8th house in Gemini and sextiling Saturn in the 6th. I think it's a lot about nurturing one's health, coming back into your routine, because you just might be kind of like thrown off balance with the mind. And so that's where we need to come back again to the present moment, because the mind again is going to try to like understand and predict and do all these things. And maybe you have to make a decision around something, and it could be stressing you out. So there's something around that where what you're learning right now is to kind of let go of narratives, let go of your attachment to understand something or to come to a conclusion around something, and just kind of coming back into the present moment instead of trying to figure things out. That's what I think you're really learning here. I also asked Spirit, like, what is it that's realistic for you right now? And I got the High Priestess and She Who Persists with perspective. So I think what the best gift that you can get out of this experience right now is coming from the planetary ruler of this full moon, Mars, squaring Jupiter in Cancer in the 9th. And so there is something actually quite spiritual that is coming from this Jupiter in the 9th. But again, it could be your ability to tap into this spiritual energy, into this perspective, into your intuition around things, or like a sense of peace or faith that things are going to work out okay. I feel like that ability is a little bit being like hindered with this Mars in the 6th. Like maybe there are things that are cropping up in your health or in your day-to-day routine that are throwing you off balance, or like something that's just stressing you out in some way or something like that. or even stuff with work. Maybe you're really busy and it's like throwing you off balance, but there's something like that that could be pulling you away from your North Star and your intuition. And I think what's realistic at this full moon is that you're bringing that back into balance with the High Priestess and the Perspective card. What's realistic is that the more that you stay present, the more that you are going to tap back into that feeling that everything is all right, that even though you can't see what is beyond you or into the future, you feel that things are going to work out or that you are going to be able to handle it. It's gaining some perspective instead of the logical mind getting really attached to trying to figure everything out in a way, in a world where it can't, right? We can't predict what's happening with everything that's going on. So so yeah, I feel like that's like the ultimate aim of this full moon for you guys, is to enter into this benefit of Jupiter in the ninth. And using Mars in the sixth to like create maybe a healthy routine to support your ability to come back into the body in the present moment so that you can believe that good things are possible, or that you can gain perspective on something that might be bothering you or triggering you emotionally. Hopefully that makes sense. So what is it that you're meant to be inspired by right now? We have the Knight of Swords in reverse. So this card is about going with the flow. And with this She Who Emerges, Mindfulness, and Rise Up, I feel like you guys are meant to be, like what's meant to be inspiring you right now is almost like this inner trust within yourself. And I feel like this is Venus in the 8th in Gemini sextiling the Saturn in the 6th. It's like this trust in your resilience, this trust in your ability to bounce back, to be able to handle what life throws at you, to be able to adapt when you need to adapt and create the right kind of like inner resources for yourself to move past things. So there could be something around that of like needing to be able to go with the flow. There could be potentially some financial things that come up, or some things that get brought up around work as well, or health as well. And it's like knowing that you can recover, knowing that you can build yourself back up. You've done it before in the past, that type of thing. I feel like a lot of this full moon for you guys is about this, again, this clay that you are molding, that you are agile, adaptable, that you are open-minded, that you're not trying to get stuck on figuring something out and grasping it logically, that you're open to that things could change, that things are unknown, that you can't predict things, that you trust that you can handle it, or you trust in life itself. And I feel like that's what this full moon is about, is kind of this release of anxiety, this release of control, this release of pent-up emotion, and like overly relying on one's logic, and trusting yourself in the universe that you're going to be okay. So that's what I see for you, Scorpio. If that resonates, let me know in the comments down below. I'm trying to grow my channel, so if you want to be a part of that, don't forget to subscribe, like the video, hype the video, share with your friends, and have a beautiful day. Bye. All right, up next we have Sagittarius rising and sun. The Scorpio full moon on May 1st is taking place in your 12th house. And this is already a full moon related to releasing something. And with this being, of course, in the sign of Scorpio, it relates to some kind of like emotional release, maybe a purge or a realization, or yeah, like some kind of like emotional new leaf that we can turn over. But it's especially potent for you because it's in the 12th. So there is something here that I think you guys are going to be excited to let go of, especially emotionally, especially if it comes to stress or overthinking something. And this could be related to a child, because the ruler of this full moon is in the 5th house. So maybe there's something related to children that is coming up for you or on your mind lately that is causing some stress. Or maybe it's something related to dating, or a kind of creative project, or something that you have done for a hobby, or something that brings you joy. Maybe there's something about it that you've been overthinking, overanalyzing, trying to control, trying to get ahead of to some degree. And so this area of your life, I feel like, is going through some kind of, again, release of control, release of overthinking, in a way that's going to be profoundly healing for you guys. And the ruler of this full moon I mentioned is Mars. It's in its home sign in the 5th. So we're having a lot of energy to kind of clear up this area of our life. If you have stuff going on with your children that you have felt blocked by or inhibited by, we're really getting things moving. If you have a creative project that you've been uncertain about or kind of back and forth about, I see you guys having like a kind of creative breakthrough or getting things going again. But this Mars is squaring Jupiter in the eighth, which is both positive, but there is some resistance here that could feel negative. So part of what I'm saying here is there could be some kind of like, yeah, I don't know. Jupiter in the eighth can be part of how you're meant to be growing with Jupiter in the eighth is you're meant to be really coming into an understanding of your own emotional nature, as well as how you can nurture and support yourself and your inner child in order to kind of heal from past traumatic circumstances, in order to heal issues around trust, in order to heal things in your life that maybe have been attached or bound to your family or to your history. So this Jupiter in the eighth is allowing for deeper self-intimacy and relationship connections as well. And so there's a lot of healing going on with this transit throughout the year that you've already been doing. But with this Mars in the fifth, it's almost like it's kind of nagging at you. Maybe there's been a desire to like push something forward, like I'm going to fix this problem with my kid, or I'm going to move this creative project forward, or pursue this desire, and like this kind of forcefulness that Aries can have, or this kind of push that Aries can have. But this Jupiter in the eighth really wants to, again, relax and take care, not relax necessarily, but it wants to take care of itself, and it wants to prioritize emotional and mental well-being above, action and getting things done, basically. So there's something about this right now where you guys maybe are needing to find some kind of way of honoring both of these sides of yourself. So what is it that you're learning? We have Page of Pentacles and then the Launch card. So I feel like you guys are trying to learn how to bring something to life. Again, maybe this is something related to a child. Maybe this is something related to a desire or project of yours. Yeah, just whatever this is, I feel like you guys are learning right now how to initiate something. And this could potentially involve other people because you do have Venus in the seventh making a sextile to the Saturn in the fifth. Maybe there is some way that you need to get people on board or do some research to that is somehow going to involve you like getting support or help in some way. Like, I don't know, like if you decide I'm going to redo this part of my house, you need to hire contractors, you need to hire help to be able to do that. Or maybe you decide I want to work with this company to bring this thing to life. These are just examples, but I think that you guys are meant to be learning right now, but you're meant to be basically just like taking action to bring something to life in some kind of capacity right now. What is realistic for you to expect right now? We have the Ten of Pentacles and She Who Remains Powerful and Devotion and True Worth. I feel like what you guys are doing right now is laying a very strong foundation. I think that whatever it is that you're trying to bring to life or trying to support at this time is something that you actually have a lot of dedication to. You really want to see it through, or it's something that's really, really, really important to you and a huge priority. So if this is your child is like your biggest priority. If this is a creative venture, this is your biggest thing on your list right now that you're thinking about. So this is something that like Spirit is telling you that you are absolutely dedicated to this, and you will see this through, even if you have to overcome some creative blocks or some blocks in some way along the way. And again, this full moon in Scorpio is helping you release a lot of the emotional blocks that could get in the way of you being able to move forward on this. So Spirit wants you to know that this full moon is a time of creating a lot of commitment and inner stability around your dedication to this thing, and almost like freeing up more energetic space in your life to make room for whatever this is to come to life. And then what's your inspiration right now? What are you meant to move towards? And what might you create that inspires others? We have the Eight of Cups and She Who Surrenders, Chains, Bondage, and Release. So again, I feel like part of how you show your dedication to something is by your ability with this Jupiter in the eighth to release something in regards to it. So releasing your anxiety, releasing your control around it. It's almost like your kids can't flourish unless you give them the space to flourish. Your creative project cannot come out of you unless you release your grip on the control of the vision or how you want things to be executed. There is some need to let go of the grip that you have on something in your life, the overly thinking, the overly worrying, the trying to control it in some way. It's only through surrendering, walking away from something, letting something go, releasing something, saying no to something, that is going to actually allow you to have the stability around it. So it's an odd thing of almost like you get safety and security and stability by not having to plan and control everything. So it's like, yeah, I'm trying to think of what is a good example of that. I don't know. It's like if you're in a relationship with somebody, for example, and they are trying to control you and make sure that you don't talk to anybody, and they just want to make sure that you really love them, and they're just like, I don't know, like pulling the strings at all times to like keep the relationship in a certain place because they're scared of losing you. That is actually going to push you away, versus if they let you go, they let you be free, they let you be who you are, and they love you throughout that process. It gives you this like feeling that you are safe, because and that you are free, and you choose to stay with them because that feeling feels good. So it's almost like trying to hold on or control too much is going to do worse. So letting someone or something or some kind of control or thought process go is the answer here at this time. And it is going to show that you are actually more dedicated to it, and to the support of what are this priorities. So hopefully that makes sense. But let me know what this is related to, because I feel like Sag, I swear Sag is like the hardest reading because it always feels very abstract, and Pisces too. You guys are Jupiter ruled signs, so maybe that's why. But anyway, I hope this relates to you guys. Let me know in the comments down below if it does. I'm trying to grow my channel, so if you want to be a part of that, please do subscribe, comment, hype, share with your friends, like the video, and I hope you have a beautiful day. Bye. All right, up next we have Capricorn rising and sun. This Scorpio full moon happening on May 1st is taking place in your 11th house. And this is a time when you guys are meant to be really connecting to a specific vision of your life. And this full moon is also about big release. And this could especially come in the area of friendship or community or relationships. You are maybe meant to be releasing specific attachments to maybe old things or fears that you could have. It's a time where we are kind of moving forward. And I got that with this Five of Cups in reverse is what you're learning right now. And then the leader card. I feel like you guys are meant to be moving forward, moving beyond something, maybe graduating from something, and stepping into some kind of leadership position, potentially within a community like center or friendship group, or just a specific like future or life goal that you have. But I think that if you guys have had, again, maybe some kind of like attachment or like fears around finances or fears around security or self-worth, like, can I do this? Can I not do this? That's part of what you're leaving behind. If things have maybe disappointed you in the past related to similar functions, this is about graduating from that and leaving those instances and those emotions in the past. The ruler of this full moon is Mars, and it's in your 4th house. So again, there's a lot here around like family and history and emotional events that have kind of made you who you are. And so that is related to what you're releasing. And I think this is specifically centered around relationships and partnerships and people, because Mars in the 4th is also squaring Jupiter in Cancer in the 7th. So I feel like you guys are going through some up-leveling, some changing, some bringing new people into your world. Again, up-leveling, especially in terms of community, connection, relationships, or even goals and how people fit into those goals. And ultimately, I think that elements of your family history, elements of your past, your emotions from your past events are things that you are getting over right now, graduating, moving on from. And maybe for some of you guys, there could be some grief in that process, some letting go. If you've ever had like guilt or regrets or things that you, look back upon and you're like, I wish I just did something different around that. I feel like this is you kind of needing to accept what has happened. And again, step up in some type of leadership position. This could mean simply having agency, realizing that it's time for you to go out and make something happen in regards to your community, your connections, your relationships, Or at the very least, it's realizing that you have personal power. And so you can decide to let something go. You can take the reins to forgive, to forget, to forgive yourself, or release grief or guilt. It's just kind of coming back into the world in some way and recognizing that you have the power of when you do that. And if it's not about coming back into the world, then it's about maybe like putting yourself out there a little bit more than you have in the past. So what is it that is realistic for you right now? I got the Ace of Wands and the She Who Nurtures. So I think that you guys are meant to be nurturing your spark right now. So Mars in the 4th squaring Jupiter in the 7th is very much about a new spark coming to life. Again, especially around home or family or relationships, or maybe there's something that is like emotionally stirring something in you, and you guys are meant to be nurturing that spark. Maybe you desire something different within the home. Maybe you desire something different within relationships or community, and you're finally starting to get a little bit of that light back, and you're like, oh, I don't know, like, should I go on the dating app? Should I move? Should I talk to that person or try to meet that friend? I don't know. And then it's like, yes, you should. The realistic thing right now is to give the energy and attention to nurture that like initial spark of excitement that you're starting to have come back to life in those areas. The last thing I wanted to mention, or the last cards that I have, are what is it that you are being inspired by right now? And we have the Hermit and the She Who Guides a New Path. I think that you guys are, the Hermit makes a lot of sense with Mars, the ruler of this moon, in the 4th. You guys have been spending a lot of time alone. I think that you guys on your own are still kind of reflecting a lot on like who you are and what you're serving in terms of like the world or your relationships and how those all kind of fit in together in your life. I don't know. I just think that you guys are reflecting on your life and yourself in general. And I feel like a new path is emerging. So you're meant to be continuing to, if you are inspired to do more like self-reflection, this is telling you to continue doing that. There may be the ability to spend a little bit of time alone. It's, again, there's like two messages. One is a little bit about like connecting with people, which is a message here, and releasing the baggage that could prevent you from that, but also allowing yourself to have time alone to reflect on things in your life, to realize or to recognize what new path you are being guided towards, because you guys are having some openings coming through right now. And so in order for you to fully tap into that, you guys are meant to be maybe journaling or going for walks in nature or having some time to really like reflect on what this new path is. So allowing the vision to come to you, I think, is a big part of this time at this full moon. And again, that really does make sense with an 11th house full moon, which is concerning the future and your plans and where you're going with things. So it's equally about having time alone to dig into that vision as it is about reframing your relationships and the things that have maybe made you a little bit too hermity with or disconnected you from people. And it's about thinking about what it would look like to maybe start new relationships or move somewhere new or something like that. Hopefully this is making sense. I know that this is kind of trying to fit for a lot of people. So we also have Venus in Gemini in the 6th house, sextiling Saturn in the 4th. So there could be something here around like work and money and planning and organizing your day and your like health as well, and like getting things kind of organized around the house and with your health that you should be focusing on right now as well. So if there's anything in that regard, that could also be something that you're getting a little bit more focused on or organized around right now. So that is what I'm saying for you, Capricorn. If this resonates, let me know in the comments down below. Don't forget to give me a thumbs up and subscribe and share with your friends and hype the video, like the video. I'm trying to grow my channel, so I appreciate that support, and I hope you have a great day. Bye. All right, next we have Aquarius rising and sun. This Scorpio full moon on May 1st is taking place in your 10th house. And this is a time where you guys are meant to be releasing something in particular related to your kind of standing in life or your success around something in life. Maybe you feel like you should be further along in a specific way of your life. And it could be making you feel I don't know, like like you're kind of questioning like, well, what am I doing next? Or where am I at in comparison to other people? Um, you could be thinking about, yeah, just like your future in a different way. And with the world card in reverse, with the perspective card, I feel like what you're learning right now is to let go of maybe some of this comparison or the feeling of being behind or feeling like you're not successful enough at something or like you're not good enough at something or like you're not far enough along. So if you've had to start over with something or if you see other people having something that you want that you don't have yet and you're not really sure how to get there, this is your time to let go of the thoughts, the worries, the emotions around that. And a Scorpio full moon is really good around purging those things, especially when the ruler of the full moon, Mars, is in your third house. It's like giving you a jump start to reframe your brain, to work with your mind in different ways, to think about things differently. Um, Mars is in the third, squaring Jupiter in the sixth. So I feel like you guys could potentially use this energy to really like get up and get going and maybe like start to work on something. Maybe this is you, again, reframing your mind and being like, okay, maybe I'm not as far along with this thing in my life, this goal that I had, or maybe I don't, yeah, maybe you're comparing yourself to somebody else or whatever. So it's like, okay, how do I then take that mindset and instead direct it into what I can do right now? Maybe it's I can work on my health right now. Maybe it's I can create a better routine right now. Maybe I can just get to work on whatever this thing is on a day-to-day basis. So there's something around that where you guys could kind of, again, jumpstart this energy and get moving with it rather than just reflecting on it. Um, what's realistic for you right now? We have the strength and the mindfulness card or the enlightenment card. I think like a big part of what you're going through right now is like you're kind of you're meant to be developing basically like a greater resilience, and not just resilience though. The strength has a lot to do with courage, with being able to persist despite difficulties, for being able to rise above the challenges that you have, to um, like see them for what they are in the larger scope of our life. So there's something like this right now where you guys might be in the midst of a specific lull or a specific challenge. This isn't going to be relevant for all of you, but if you have any planets around 11 degrees of the fixed signs, Taurus, Leo, Scorpio, or Aquarius, then you will likely have this stronger. So there might be something that you are having to persist through, to maintain your strength through, to maintain your resolve around. Maybe this is mental resolve, physical resolve, resiliency, or just even having courage to like reach for more and strive for more. Maybe you've been kind of not complacent, but like a little bit satisfied, or I don't know, like not taking certain risks or chances, or maybe you haven't tried to branch out in certain ways, and this is maybe an opportunity to do so. So it's going to be different. Some of you guys might be in a phase of like having to let go of something and recover from something, and other of you guys could be in a phase of reaching for more within your career, especially. And this is your opportunity now to have like the strength, I guess, and develop the courage and almost go through like a spiritual kind of growth spurt where it's like, oh, I can do this. I can achieve this. And so, yeah, it's almost like instead of looking around and comparing and feeling like this isn't as successful as I would like it to be, you instead focus on your belief in yourself and developing that resilience and that courage to keep going or to keep building with something, even when times get tough. The last card we have is, what is the inspiration right now that you're meant to be moving into? And we have the Seven of Pentacles and the She Who Doubts. So this to me is saying you're building something long term here. And this is a full moon in the 10th. This is about legacy. This is about impact that is going to take years to unfold. Maybe you are making decisions now, or again, realizing things now or releasing things now that could take time. So maybe it takes time to process something. Maybe it takes time to build something. Maybe it takes time to get to the other side of something that you're going through. So whatever this is, it's really relating to having that long term in mind and recognizing that there are going to be times when you doubt yourself or doubt the path, or feel maybe a little bit, yeah, just uncertain of yourself. And this is part of the process. And so part of the inspiration that's coming to you right now is finding ways to work through that with this Mars in the third, squaring Jupiter in the sixth, finding ways to elevate your mindset to continue to take action, to see kind of the best way to move forward with things, even if there are certain doubts around the progress that's being made. Or again, because this thing takes so long, I feel like, or maybe it involves a lot of steps or a lot of patience. Anything like that is going to, at various points, test you because you don't see the immediate results. And so much of our society is built off immediate results. So it's about giving yourself credit also for each step along the way, even when you do doubt yourself. We also have Venus in the fifth house in Gemini, making a sextile to Saturn in the third. I think part of how you can develop a lot of like self-belief, especially around embracing more of your heart's desires and what brings you joy, or maybe there's something around your children, or maybe there's something around being seen that you want to do, or maybe something that you're trying to create. I feel like this is trying to tell you to develop some kind of practice around this, some kind of like routine or something consistent. That's really coming through with Jupiter in the sixth as well. But yeah, maybe some kind of routine to journal, to reflect. I don't know if this is something around, oh, I want to have a kid, or I want to create this thing, or I want to support my kid in this way. How can you somehow break that down into an action step or a routine to get that thing for that person or for yourself? That might not make sense with children necessarily because I can't think of an example, but hopefully you guys kind of understand how to apply this to yourself. How can I make this something that is going to just eventually happen because I'm consistently taking action towards it? And it doesn't matter if I'm doubting or not, I always show up for that routine anyway. And so you're slowly chipping away at whatever this long-term goal is. So that's what I see for you, Aquarius. This is definitely a time to have courage, to believe in yourself, and to transcend the kind of doubts that you might have about where you're at in life right now. So I hope this resonates. If so, let me know in the comments down below. Don't forget to give me a thumbs up and subscribe, hype, share with your friends, like the video, and I hope you have a beautiful day. Bye. All right, and last but not least, we have Pisces rising and sun. This Scorpio full moon on May 1st, 2026 is in your ninth house. And this is a full moon about releasing. For this being in your ninth house, this is often about releasing beliefs, releasing perspectives, releasing attachment to the way that you know things are. And especially when this comes to things like money or resources, or what your priorities are, or what your values are, or what you hold close to the chest in terms of what gives you, I guess, security, or what you're attached to, or even your physical possessions. And that's because the ruler of this moon is Mars, and it's domiciled in the second house. So there is Mars and Aries in the second is a lot related to kind of tying value and worth and money and all those things to our identity. And there could be some belief shifts that are happening in that regard. Again, maybe just change in priorities as well. And with this full moon, we are having the ruler Mars squaring Jupiter, in Cancer in its exaltation in your fifth house. So I feel like there is something here around attachment to like security and the way things should be, and maybe like a practical mindset or the way that you've always done them, and being quite like hemmed in by something like that. Versus Jupiter in the fifth, which is a lot more joyful and expansive and playful and excited about things, and moving from that energy versus what is realistic, what is practical, what is logical. So there might be something going on now with that as well, where you're learning how to trust more of your heart-centered action, where you're learning how to shift your perspective to focus more on the things that you're excited about versus what you're trying to maybe run from, or like create in the physical world in a practical sense. Maybe that has, maybe you've just led a little bit too much with logic. And so that's part of what this full moon could illuminate for you guys. So let's start off with some of the cards. So what are you learning? We have the Star and then the Leadership card. I feel like part of this is you guys learning with Jupiter in the fifth, how to maybe be seen, be visible more, how to express yourself more, how to also like feel more hopeful about your like your star quality and your star presence. That's also really strong here. So maybe you've had beliefs that, again, that have been, you've been kind of attached to, or that have kept you a little bit hermity or a little bit safe in some way. And now you're trying, like spirit wants you to kind of go out a little bit more, and reach for more, or take more risks, or be seen in different ways. Or maybe you're meant to teach something or learn something new, that is going to open up your horizons and bring more um, opportunity or more visibility in some type of way. So this is a time to step up as a leader. If you have a message to share that you want to be, that you want to be heard, to trust in that and learn to trust your voice and, again, your intuition, and not as much about like, oh, it only makes sense if I have this experience and if I say it in this way. It's like, what if you just kind of let loose and let things be a little bit organic and less, again, hemmed in some way. So what is it that is realistic right now? We have the Hermit and the She Who Becomes. I think that you guys are going through a little bit of a metamorphosis right now with this card. This is a full moon squaring Pluto in the 12th house. So there is a lot happening behind the scenes that you might not even fully be aware is happening. You are probably releasing and processing a lot within the subconscious mind, within your dreams right now. Maybe you have certain fears that are coming through in your dreams, or maybe certain, elements of past experiences that has maybe planted seeds of doubt in your life, or in fear of visibility or anything like that. Maybe that is being processed, again, behind the scenes, subconsciously, coming out in artistic ways, or things that like you don't actually realize how deep this goes. So part of what's realistic right now is that you guys are kind of meant to be going through a process of like healing and reflection and releasing that we're all going through at the Scorpio full moon. But you're meant to be doing it in a way that is kind of like quiet and reflective, if that makes sense. So you may benefit from dream work, from meditation, from journaling, from time alone. All those things could really suit you to help kind of ground the things that are being moved through your life right now, to help ground you in that process. So, yeah, there could be some like past life energy, if you believe in that. There could be past life events and things that you don't actually realize are coming into play with how you're feeling right now. And again, a lot of that can process through sleep. So hopefully that makes sense. So the last message that I have through the cards is, what are you supposed to be inspired by right now? What are you supposed to be moving towards? With the King of Swords reversed and the She Who Listens card, I really feel like, again, this is speaking to you guys coming from a place not so much of knowing logically what all the right answers are, what the best plan is, what everybody should do, and telling people from this kind of like self-righteous place of like, this is how it is. I feel like you guys are meant to be coming into a phase of listening to others, opening up your mindset and perspective to allow different things in. But I also feel like this is listening to yourself as well, listening to your moods, your fluctuations, your intuition, the things that are more subtly speaking to you, rather than the mind that is trying to like clarify and put into boxes and make sense of things. So yeah, this just feels like you guys are meant to be really in this phase of like absorption. And that might come from the sun being in the third, which is very much about like collecting data and information. This could also somehow be related to Mars in the second, though I don't know how. Mars in the second squaring Jupiter in the fifth. To me, this is more so about like creative actualization or self-expression, and not being so attached to, again, certain ways of viewing things or doing things. So I think that whatever is going to bring about more attunement to the self and what you want to say in a specific moment, what you want to do in a specific moment, and kind of flowing with that. Usually Pisces, you are good at that, but if this is your rising sign, there might be some blocks around that right now. So yeah, I think that there may be something that's calling you to share a message, to be seen more visibly potentially, and some of you guys could feel uncomfortable around it. Or maybe you guys are meant to be opening up to like a different kind of perspective, a different belief shift, and you're meant to be listening more instead of holding on to certain attachments or certain ways of like, this is how you make money, this is how things are done, that kind of thing. So one more One more card, Spirit, because I feel like this message is not complete. What is your message for Pisces? So we have the Panther. So, spirit of vulnerability. The spirit of Panther says, let yourself be seen. Oh my God. Exactly. Yep. It's time to love yourself and let people love you the way that you are. It's only through vulnerability that true love can be accessed, but it's a risk because it means you allow people to see you fully, including the parts of yourself that you're ashamed of, and it can be scary, but it's the only way to open yourself up for healing. By being vulnerable, you stop feeling sorry for yourself and stop apologizing for who you are. You start taking up space in a sincere and loving way. And this healing expands to the people around you. They can feel safe, and we all need the safety of being able to be human without having to pretend that we're perfect. So when you're in balance with this energy, you are daring, you're feeling vulnerable and honest and intimate, forming genuine connections and being authentic. When it's out of balance, you feel shame, you fear rejection, fear intimacy, and you be fake. So yeah, I think that this speaks a lot to what I was saying about being seen, but this also adds in the emotional layer, which comes from Scorpio, around the vulnerability piece, the fear of what if I'm seen and I'm judged? What if I'm seen and I'm misunderstood? And having to kind of let that go and being able to be secure enough in yourself. I think that comes from Venus in the 4th house, sextiling Saturn in the 2nd. It's like trusting that you are emotionally stable enough, secure enough within yourself, valuing enough within yourself, and also knowing how to take care of yourself mentally, emotionally, physically, so that if you are at certain times misheard or misunderstood or projected upon in that moment of being seen, that you are still going to be okay. But then it also opens you up to all the good that can come from that. So really beautiful message here for you, Pisces. Let me know if that resonates. Let me know in the comments down below. Don't forget to give me a thumbs up, subscribe, like the video, hype the video, share with your friends. I am trying to grow my channel, so I appreciate any support like that, and I hope you have a beautiful day. Bye.